This is Larry Henares making your day with the second part of an article I wrote entitled War. And we continue to quote, "Now let us move our perspective not only to our nation as a whole, but with a view of the whole world and with the view to the beginning of time. During the 10,000 years before Christ was born, civilization was born. With the greatness that was Egypt, the glory that was Greece, the grandeur that was Rome, and the wonder that is China. Egypt lasted 3,000 years, from 3100 BC up to Alexander the Great in 332 BC, bringing agriculture and architecture into being. Greece lasted for 500 years, from 800 to 300 BC, giving us philosophy, art, science, and democracy. Rome lasted 1,300 years, from 1800 BC to 500 AD, giving us engineering, public works, and the Roman law. And China lasted for 4,000 years, from 2070 BC in the Qia dynasty to 1911 AD, when Sun Yat-sen had his October 10th. Amazing. China antedated both ancient Greece and Rome by more than 1,000 years, and still they exist, bringing technical innovations and a rational way of life. During those 10,000 years before Christ was born, wars were fought by professional armies according to fixed rules of engagement, extolling personal bravery and gallantry, and none of the hatred and cruelty imposed by religious bigotry and racial prejudice. Throughout those times, mother-directed, family-oriented gods reigned, devoid of bigotry and aversion to sex, tolerant in their acceptance of other gods in their pantheon. Egypt had a cult of Isis with over 2,000 gods, starting from Ra, the sun god. Greece and Rome had a family of 12 Olympian gods, headed by Zeus and Jupiter, and 300 minor gods or group of gods. India and China had no gods at all, only two great teachers, Buddha and Confucius. Under such gods, without religious hatreds, civilization prospered in comparative peace for many centuries, nay, for many millenniums. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Henares making your day with the second part of an article I wrote entitled War. And we continue to quote, "According to historians, Judaism and its two derivatives, Christianity and Islam, are father-directed, alpha male-based religions, and as such are intolerant of other religions, bigoted with aversion to sex, and look upon women as inferior and objects of temptations to sin. Worshipping the same God, Jehovah, Yahweh, the Holy Trinity, Allah, they nevertheless turned against each other and against their own kind, and an orgy of inquisitions, burning at the stake, crusades, jihads, and holy wars. The elimination of the mother principle was profoundly unsettling on human civilization and led straight to the Dark Ages. 2 millenniums that constituted the Christian era was replete with wars of incredible cruelty and religious and racial hatred, of which the worst were perpetrated by the Christians, and which persecuted the Jews, made war on the Muslims, and splintered bodily into thousands of sects. The most cruel of the Christians have been always the white race, with its insatiable greed and notions of racial superiority that motivated them to conquer other races with the cross and the sword, enslaved the blacks, massacred the indigenous races for the gold and for their lands, and poisoned the entire Chinese race with opium. Less bloodthirsty are the Muslims, who had their golden age when the West was mired in the Dark Ages. They gave us advances in arts, astronomy, and mathematics, including the Arabic numerals from 0 to 9. The Muslims welcomed the Jews and the Christians alike into Jerusalem, their ancestral domain. That was not enough for the Christians, however, who mounted nine crusades, including one composed entirely of children, and massacred 40,000 Muslims in Jerusalem when they occupied it. They raped women, they smashed the skulls of little children against the walls. God must have been so incensed. He sent the bubonic plague to Europe and killed 25 million of its population, 1 out of every 4. Arab teachers peacefully gave us Filipinos their Muslim religion. But the Spaniards gave us the cross with a sword. Only in modern times did the Muslims retaliate with terrorist attacks. Can you blame them? Over 2 centuries, the West cruelly exploited them for their oil, expiated Germany's sins against the Jews by carving out Israel out of Arab lands, then forbidding the Arabs from making nuclear bombs while giving Israel all the bombs it needed. That, my children, is the right perspective on the wars that engulfed the entire world. The fault lies in the religious bigotry and the racial prejudice of the Christian white trash. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us till next time. Hasta la bye-bye.